the Carney government's first federal budget.
The budget I present today comes at a time of profound change.
Big spending, but what does it mean for Calgary?
There's some really good measures in here that are really, really important.
An Albertan wins big.
First, I read it wrong. I thought it was $360,000.
It was actually $36 million on Lotto 649. And a rare curling feat conquered by a Calgarian in her 80s.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Jordan Cannigan.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Mark Carney's government has released its first budget. It's a document heavy on what the Liberals call a generational investment on infrastructure projects, but it also includes some cuts to the public service. Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne tabling the document this afternoon. It pegs the federal deficit at $78.3 billion. That will drop to $56.6 billion by the end of the decade. Of interest to many in the oil industry, Ottawa says the oil and gas emissions cap would no longer be required because of effective carbon markets, enhanced oil and gas regulations, and new technologies to reduce emissions. Well, the budget is focused on creating a stable and strong Canadian economy, given the instability tariffs have caused. But because of that focus, there's little tailored towards everyday Calgarians' cost of living concerns. Though the government insists the measures they've made will boost wages. Jacqueline Wilson has more.
It's a budget that's focusing on pro-business measures meant to increase productivity, a move that's being applauded by the Calgary Chamber of Commerce.
If you're looking at investing in a big project, there's the productivity super deduction that will reduce Canada's marginal effective tax rate by more than 2%, and that'll secure Canada's advantage as having the lowest rate in the G7. That's huge. We have needed to attract capital for a very long time, and we have not been competitive.
This, paired with the ending of the emissions cap, she says will have huge impacts on the energy industry.
This is really, really important, especially if you think about the fact that we have LNG Canada 2. We have other LNG projects that are on the horizon. We have discussions about a pipeline. There's discussions about pathways. And, you know, whether Keystone XL materializes or not. But anything that has a big price tag associated with it.
For Alberta Finance Minister Nate Horner, he's hoping for clarification on energy action.
Well, there's a few mentions of pipelines in this budget, but it's very vague. They do talk about a carbon pipeline. They don't reference, a bitumen pipeline to the West Coast specifically. So there's some clarity needed there. I'd say also they reference things like not needing an emissions cap, but we're going to need to understand how they'll tangibly get there.
In the coming days and weeks, the city and province will be going through the 400-plus page document, seeing how it will impact our local budget.
The budget that's been tabled, I think, has some really good positive first steps, a commitment to working with municipalities to addressing some of the housing, infrastructure, and safety challenges. And we consider it to be a very first, quite optimistic about this very first step. But again, this budget's going to be judged based on results and actions and not just words on paper.
Jacqueline Wilson, CTV News, Calgary.
To more Budget Day news out of Ottawa, a Conservative MP has crossed the floor. Nova Scotia's Chris D'Entremont resigning from the Conservative bench and has joined the Liberals. This move puts the Liberals two seats shy of a majority government and being able to pass their budget without opposition support. D'Entremont was first elected as an MP in 2019 after sitting as a Nova Scotia Progressive Conservative MLA for 16 years. About 200 post-secondary teachers, students, and staff skipped out on class today for an education solidarity rally. The Mount Royal Faculty Association holding the walkout in support of the Alberta Teachers Association and its members. As Tim Brooke reports, their focus is on the province's use of the notwithstanding clause.
Some faculty members at Mount Royal University say now is the time for noise.
It's something that all Albertans should be concerned about when the province can so easily strip away our rights under the Charter.
And so, a rally in front of the university to speak for workers and unions after the notwithstanding clause was invoked by Alberta's government to end the teacher strike.
We're not going to sit by quietly, and hopefully they would rescind the invocation.
The clause stopped a province-wide strike centered around wages and working conditions, but some labor experts have deemed it a needlessly aggressive move.
The courts are shut down through the notwithstanding clause, but they also can't turn to the human rights boards or the labor relations board. And so really the government's leaving the teachers with no collective bargaining rights and no ability to challenge any of that.
The education minister says after 2 failed ratification votes and 3 weeks out of class, it was time to move on.
It was incredibly important to get students back into school, but also to ensure that the legislature retains the complete authority over policy decisions that affect the province, because elected individuals have to be held accountable at the end of the day, and we have to make the final decisions versus unelected courts.
Still, here, that's not a good enough reason. Other post-secondary faculty members say there should have been another chance at finding a compromise.
We are bringing up the people that will run this country and this province decades from now. And to invest in that future is a bold investment from the government to say that we want to be the biggest, we want to be the best.
Tim Brooke, CTV News, Calgary.
Now, the education minister met with Premier Danielle Smith this morning to discuss some of those challenges. First on the list is a class size and complexity task force that collects annual data and reports back to the minister. Smith has previously said she hopes teachers and education assistants will play a very large role. Alberta's NDP is accusing the provincial government of forcing the Auditor General out before he finishes his investigation into the healthcare contracting scandal. Doug Wiley's 8-year term expires in April, but he's offered to stay on for 2 more years to complete his work. He's looking into the province's health procurement process after corruption allegations by the former head of Alberta Health Services. Yesterday, UCP members voted during a legislature committee for a search committee to start the process to fill the role. Alberta's Justice Minister says he's confident a new Auditor General will continue Wiley's work. The UCP, meantime, has also said Wiley is welcome to reapply for the job. Bring in Danielle now for a first look at weather, and over the next few days we certainly could see some precipitation.
Yeah, so let's look at the positives first. The ski hills, many have opened up.
Yes.
Skiing has begun. But wind chill is kicking in that you will notice tomorrow morning. At 8 a.m. with the wind chill, it will feel more like -11. Yikes. It's been a while since it felt that cold. We also have the potential of freezing rain mixed in with some snowflakes, so maybe even in some isolated areas, we will have slick sidewalks and roads. This shouldn't be too heavy, and it will be very isolated, but that's the potential for tomorrow morning. As we warm up to 6, which is not that high, in the afternoon hours, we have the chance of showers by about 4 p.m. and it will be windy all day, up to 40 kilometers per hour. Your full forecast is just ahead.
Thank you, Danielle. Calgary police are looking for the driver of a vehicle that hit 2 pedestrians and took off. It happened just before 4 this afternoon at the intersection of James McKevitt Road and Shannon Avenue in the southwest. Both pedestrians were rushed to hospital in non-life-threatening condition. So far, a vehicle description has not been released. Well, the RCMP Major Crimes in BC unit is investigating after someone was hit and killed by a vehicle. Mounties releasing a photo of a truck they say hit a pedestrian outside of an A&W in Sparwood, BC on Sunday. A man was killed, and investigators now want to hear from anyone who saw the truck and the driver in the area before the incident. One lucky Albertan is now $36 million richer. A Whitecourt business owner who has deep roots in Calgary was presented with the check today. He says he has no idea what he plans to do with the money, but he vows to remain humble and invest wisely. Tyson Fedor reports.
I won the Lotto 649.
A statement many Canadians wish they could make, and Stacey Boyce can. $36 million, all in exchange for his $19 purchase of a Quick Pick Lotto 649 Gold Ball ticket that he bought in October.
I was just running in town to grab some more propane and check my ticket and didn't really believe it at first.
It was in Hinton, Alberta, where the winning ticket was purchased last month.
First, I read it wrong. I thought it was $360,000. So I don't think it's quite set in yet, but I'm planning on going back to work right after this.
Boyce owns a logging truck business. He says the money will help purchase some new trucks for it as he looks to expand it. But he says he has no plans for most of the money quite yet, other than buying a boat next spring and fulfilling his daughter's wish of getting a pony.
Hopefully we can keep things pretty humble and the same that we've been doing.
Albertans have won big before when it comes to lottery tickets.
We always have that chagrin of, hey, it's always won in Ontario. Actually, Alberta does very well for itself, and Calgary as a city does well too.
The winning number that Boyce had was 303-670-74-01. The ball drawn was gold, attached to it $36 million.
When you say you won $36 million, nobody believes you.
For Boyce, financial experts suggest being patient with the money.
Just take a breath and take what we call a bit of a cooling off period. So if you can, upwards of 6 months, try not to make any major life decisions.
Decisions such as quitting your job or buying a bigger house.
We'll need to build the right team around you. I'd highly recommend a quality financial planner, an accountant to make sure you're structured right from a tax perspective, and then a state lawyer because you'll have to get some wills done as well.
And if you want to be just like Boyce and Canada's next millionaire, you can.
Yeah, you got to keep buying the tickets.
Tyson Fedor, CTV News, Calgary.
Coming up, sounding the alarm about the level of care for those with PTSD. Family members and advocates for first responders say those who need help are having trouble getting it.
You're watching CTV News, Calgary.
A fire broke out overnight at Bridget Bar on 10th Avenue in the Southwest. The owner says most of the damage is in the men's bathroom as well as the private dining room. Says the main dining room and kitchen mostly sustained water damage, and the front and side doors will need to be replaced along with some glass. The fire department saying the flames appear to have originated at the rear of the building and on the deck area. An investigation into the cause continues. Families and advocates for those living with post-traumatic stress disorder claim first responders in Alberta are facing a crisis in care. They say the Workers' Compensation Board and other insurance providers are denying and delaying access to treatment, which they believe is forcing many back to the front lines too soon. Terry Fikowski reports.
They broke my husband. They broke him, and nobody seems to care enough to want to fix him.
Angela Smith has watched her husband's mental health deteriorate to a desperate level over his 20 years with the Calgary Police Service.
We're unable to sleep in the same room because it's just not safe. His nightmares are bad.
He sought help in 2021 but was back at work a year later, which she says was too soon. In 2023, he went on another leave and was diagnosed with PTSD, impacting the whole family, including their 6-year-old daughter.
She thinks I'm the funny one in our family, and I'm not the funny one. And that's heartbreaking to me because she doesn't get to see him the way he was.
Smith says it was a long battle for the Workers' Compensation Board to approve her husband's claim so he could receive treatment. In Alberta, PTSD is presumed to be work-related for first responders, meaning they're automatically covered unless proven otherwise. But advocates say that's not happening.
Nothing but denials, red tape, bureaucracy, and sometimes many of our first responders are being forced back to work.
The organization says of the 792 psychological injury claims filed by Alberta first responders in 2021, only 565 were accepted. WCB refutes the interpretation of the numbers, saying claims under presumptive PTSD legislation would only be denied if there isn't a confirmed diagnosis or if medical evidence shows it's not work-related, though some experts say that's not the case.
WCB has adopted a different definition of post-traumatic stress disorder and so is disallowing a number of claims despite first responders who've been diagnosed with PTSD by a physician or by a psychologist.
Smith just wants first responders who are suffering, like her husband, to receive the care they desperately need.
It seems that the goal is to get them back to work at all costs. We're the ones that are paying the cost on that.
Terry Fikowski, CTV News, Calgary.
The Calgary Police Service says around 19% of officers are currently on leave or accommodations due to physical or mental injuries. Calgary Police say the city is on pace to have more domestic violence incidents in 2025 than in any of the last 5 years. CPS responding to nearly 3,600 incidents so far this year. That's well above the 5-year average. Domestic violence can happen anywhere to anyone, but police are seeing increases in some months, including January and February, but July and August are the busiest. Police urge people to seek help. Candace's friends convinced her to finally speak to officers after getting strangled by her fiancé. It says support from police, agencies, family, and friends have provided strength to help others facing abuse.
If I see a police officer, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. If they're on the street, I stop and tell them thank you. It's because of you I'm here. And so it means the world to me that I can give back now and just give those other chances.
Calgarians experiencing abuse or violence in an intimate or family relationship are encouraged to reach out for help by calling 211. We have more resources, including online options, on our website. Halo Air Ambulance has been given the green light to resume flights. In September, the air ambulance servicing the Medicine Hat area was grounded following a safety incident. The province would only say it happened during a patient transfer and no one was injured. Since then, Emergency Health Services has completed a review and made changes to ensure better communication and safety. We'll expect a cool next few days and possibly some wet ones as well. Danielle will have her full Skywatch forecast coming up next.
Well, today was beautiful. The winds were calm. The sun was out. Temperatures were right where they should be. We got to a high of 6 in the city today. It's a different story tomorrow. I know that a lot of people maybe not be fans of wind chill, but wind chill, we're going to feel like -11 at 8 a.m. So it's a chilly start to the day that we're going to have to start getting used to. All right, looking around the country, Vancouver got to 12 degrees today, Toronto got to 14, Montreal got to 11, and Fredericton got into the double digits, just barely, but you know, got there. Okay, radar and satellite, it's been quiet today. That system tracking stateside has fizzled out, but there's another one on the way. It's basically a consistent moisture feed from the states, and because temperatures are going to cool down and a low will develop over us and drag in some cooler air around it, we are looking at the potential and the risk of freezing rain tomorrow morning, and freezing rain is possible a few times over these next few days. So here's the futurecast to give you an idea of when you can expect it. Overnight tonight, the clouds will continue to increase, so before you go to bed, check out the supermoon, and then the clouds will increase and it'll be harder to see. And then by tomorrow morning, this is a look at 9 o'clock in the morning, is when we get into the chance for Calgary of getting some snowflakes, and we may even have some freezing rain mixed in with that as well, or switch to freezing rain. So throughout the morning, that's the potential. Further to the south, it may mainly be freezing rain and rain, because temperatures will be a little warmer. We will likely have a little bit of rain thrown back in later in the day tomorrow, closer to 4 or 5 p.m., because temperatures will be warm enough. But you can see the system really developing, and it's going to draw down that cooler air from the north. So while we're looking at a rain event Thursday in the morning hours, we'll switch then as the cooler air rolls in. So Friday will be a cold one. Now we'll see some development in Alberta for freezing rain and snow once again on Friday morning. It looks like we'll be just on the edge of that for Calgary, so we have the chance of seeing some of this as well Friday morning. Risk of freezing rain by then as well. All right, long range forecast, 6 degrees is our high for tomorrow, but keep in mind in the morning with the wind chill, it will feel more like -11. So layers are a must. 10 degrees on Thursday with the chance of showers in the morning, and then that cooler air spins in. It will be a cold start on Friday, only a high of 3, and in the morning hours we have that risk of freezing rain combined with some snowflakes.
Thank you, Danielle. It's more rare than getting a hole-in-one, but a Calgary senior conquered the crazy curling feat, and it wasn't even her first time. That story coming up. Two Calgary dancers are heading to Italy to represent Canada at the World Championships of Acro Dance. 21-year-old Alex Lang is a two-time world champion in acro dance. It's a dance style combining strength, flexibility, tumbling, and artistic movement with traditional dance and choreography. The Milan competition is run by the International Dance Organization. Lang calling the competition nerve-wracking but important for those hoping to make a career in the dance world.
It's the Dance World Championships. They usually hold competitions all over Europe and North America, and it's basically the Olympics of dance, so it's super, super important for us dancers out here.
16-year-old Serafina Kaloran will make her debut. Her goal is to one day perform with Cirque du Soleil. The two Calgary dancers begin competing November 17th. The event will be streamed live by the International Dance Organization. We have a link on our website. Well, scoring an 8-ender is very rare in curling. Imagine doing it when you're in your 80s. That happened recently at the Garrison Curling Club. Here's Glenn Campbell.
Saunders has been curling for 50 years.
I love curling, the camaraderie, the challenge.
Recently, the 88-year-old Skip and her team was up for the challenge. They did something most curlers never do. They scored an 8-ender.
Well, it wasn't planned, but after I seen 6 yellow stones, my mind was walking, and it worked. So our team played perfect, very well.
Team Saunders is all the talk right now at the Garrison Curling Club, and rightly so. The odds of scoring an 8-under is very rare.
A hole-in-one, the odds are 1 in 12,000, and an 8-ender in curling is 1 in 120,000. So most people don't even come anywhere close to it.
The unbelievable part of this story is it's not the first 8-ender for Flo Volko. She also did it back in 1992 at a women's bonspiel in Banff. This time around, the 81-year-old was throwing skip stones for Team Saunders. She was shocked to have yet another 8-ender.
Because I had a pacemaker put in, and this was my first day back curling. No warm-up, no anything. I got on the ice, and the curling gods were with me because I made 2 of the most perfect shots to take them out and give us an 8-ender.
Saunders says curling keeps her young, and she plans on playing for a little while longer.
Maybe 90. We hope a couple more years.
As for Volko, perhaps she should buy a lottery ticket.
People keep saying I did go buy one, but I didn't win.
Glenn Campbell, CTV Sports, Calgary.
Well, that's it for our show this evening. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.